Today, we're looking at 16 forgotten 4x4s built to survive the apocalypse. These are machines that refuse to die, and frankly, some of them could easily outwheel a modern Wrangler on the toughest trails. Let's dive in. The Dodge Ram Charger. If a bald eagle could drive, it'd drive this. In the early models from the late 70s, Dodge decided to take their full-size pickup, shorten the wheelbase, and throw a roof over the back. But here's why it's on this list. Unlike modern SUVs that feel like driving a cloud of cotton candy, those early Ram Chargers gave you a literal pop-top. You could unbolt the entire roof from the windshield to the tailgate and give your passengers a 360-degree view of the trail. It's a 318 V8-powered brick that laughs at your lane assist. It's thirsty, it's loud, and it's heavy, but it will still be idling long after your neighbor's electric crossover has been recycled into soda can. The Suzuki Samurai. This is the giant killer. Now I know what you're thinking. People said these things rolled over if you looked at them funny. But here's the catch. That was mostly a hit piece by Consumer Reports that's been debunked for years. In reality, the Samurai is so light it practically floats over mud that swallows 6,000-pound modern trucks. It's simple, it's mechanical, it's basically a street-legal ATV with a heater that actually works. You can fix the entire engine with a basic set of wrenches and a screwdriver. You don't need a computer to tell you why it's not starting, you just look at it. The Nissan Patrol Y60. In America, we missed out on this one, and that's a tragedy of epic proportions. While we were getting the Pathfinder, the rest of the world was getting a weapon. In the Middle East, they don't just drive these, they build them into sand missiles. We're talking about TD42 diesel and TB42 petrol engines tuned to 2,000 horsepower just to climb vertical dunes for fun. Why? Because the engine block is made of what I call unobtainium. It's so over-engineered, it makes modern German precision look like a Lego set. The Y60 was a pioneer, introducing a coil spring suspension that was decades ahead of its time. It gave you the comfort of a luxury sedan on the road and the flex of a mountain goat off it. If you want to go to the middle of nowhere, and more importantly, actually come back, you take a Patrol. Volvo 240, the Swedish tank. You might wonder why a Swedish sedan is sitting next to these off-road giants. It's because the Volvo 240 is quite literally a tank with a license plate. While other cars from the 70s and 80s have long since dissolved into piles of rust, the 240 is still out there, often with 500,000 miles on the original clock. The core of its immortality is the red block engine, specifically the B21 and B23. These engines are so simple, they borderline on primitive. They feature an overbuilt bottom end and a non-interference design, meaning even if the timing belt snaps, the engine won't kill itself. But it's not just the engine, it's the steel. Volvo used high-quality Scandinavian steel and heavy-duty undercoating because these cars had to survive decades of salted roads and Arctic winters. The 240 was designed with a 30-year life cycle in mind, at a time when most companies were planning for 7. It's the ultimate gray man vehicle, unassuming, unbreakable, and statistically likely to outlive its owner. Toyota Land Cruiser 80 Series, the peak of engineering. This is it. The high watermark. The 80 Series Land Cruiser was the last cruiser built with a money-is-no-object philosophy. Toyota spent billions developing this platform during the Japanese bubble economy, and it shows in every oversized bearing and over-engineered bolt. Whether you have the 1FZ FE 4.5-liter inline-6 or the legendary 1HDT turbo diesel, you're looking at a 500,000-mile engine. The F1Z is under stress to a comical degree. It's a massive engine with low compression that barely generates any internal stress, but it's the crown jewel, the factory triple lockers.
Combined with coil-sprung solid axles, it's a mountain goat that rides with the poise of a luxury car.
The third-generation Toyota 4Runner is the Japanese rival that shows up and just embarrasses everyone with how well it's engineered. Under the hood, you've got the 3.4-liter V6, the 5VZ-FE. This thing is Toyota's middle finger to entropy itself. Timing belt instead of a chain, sure, but if you keep up with that every 90K, this engine will outlive your mortgage. Here's where it gets wild. The Toyota tax is real. A 25-year-old 4Runner with 200,000 miles, 15 grand, maybe 20 if it's clean. People don't sell these unless they're moving to another country or they've died. This is the ultimate camping rig. Throw a rooftop tent on it, some all-terrains, and you've got a vehicle that'll take you to Patagonia and back without breaking a sweat. The frame can rust in the salt belt, I'll give you that, but if you're in the west or southwest, this thing is immortal. No fancy electronics to fail, manual windows, good. Crank sunroof, even better. The fewer computers, the fewer problems. That's the Toyota way. The third-gen 4Runner is what happens when a culture of engineering perfectionism meets a mid-size SUV platform. It's not exciting, it's not fast, but it'll be running long after you're gone.
Now, let's talk about the American backbone, the GM 800 Chevrolet Tahoe and Suburban. If you grew up in the suburbs anytime between 2000 and 2010, your buddy's mom had one of these. The heart of this beast, the Vortec V8, 5.3-liter or 6.0-liter. Doesn't matter. Both are built on the legendary LS platform. And if you know anything about engines, you know the LS is the small block V8 of our generation. Here's the magic. You can fix these things with parts from any gas station in America. O'Reilly's, AutoZone, Advance Auto, they all have entire aisles dedicated to keeping these trucks on the road. Alternator dies in rural Montana, you'll have a new one in 20 minutes. These things are rolling living rooms, third-row seating, enough cargo space to move a college dorm room, and towing capacity that'll pull your buddy's boat to the lake every weekend for 2 decades. Do they drive like a Cadillac? Absolutely not. The steering is vague, the suspension floats like a waterbed, and the interior plastics feel like they came from a Fisher-Price factory. But that's not the point. The point is that plumbers, contractors, and soccer moms have been running these into the ground for 20 years, and they just keep going. You'll see these with 400,000 miles still doing school runs. The GM 800 isn't fancy. It's not a status symbol, but it's proof that sometimes the most American answer is also the right one. Build it simple, build it tough, and make parts available everywhere. Toyota Land Cruiser 100 Series, 1998 to 2007. All right, now we're leveling up. The Toyota Land Cruiser 100 Series is what happens when Toyota takes everything they learned from decades of building indestructible trucks and wraps it in leather and luxury. Under that hood is the 2UZ-FE, a 4.7-liter V8 that's so overbuilt, it's almost insulting to other engines. Toyota designed this thing for a 25-year service life in third-world countries. We're talking African deserts, Australian outback, Middle Eastern war zones. This isn't just an SUV, it's a luxury tank. Full-time four-wheel drive, locking differentials, and a suspension system that'll soak up everything from potholes to boulders. Toyota over-engineers everything. The wiring harnesses are thicker than they need to be. The frame is boxed steel. Even the damn alternator is built like it's going to Mars. There's redundancy on top of redundancy. And the market knows it. Clean 100 Series Land Cruisers with 150,000 miles, 30 grand. Maybe 40 if it's got the low miles and service records. These things appreciate faster than some stocks. Yeah, the interior tech is dated now, but that's a feature. No overcomplicated infotainment to brick itself. No touchscreen tantrums. Just buttons and dials that'll work in 2050. This is the gold standard. The one every dictator, UN convoy, and overlander trusts with their life. The Land Rover Defender Classic.
It's loud, it's uncomfortable, it leaks oil to mark its territory, and it has the aerodynamics of a garden shed. So why is it at number 2? Because it's soulful. It's a mechanical connection to the earth that modern cars have completely lost. You don't just drive a Defender, you collaborate with it.
Nissan Patrol Y60, the forbidden fruit. If you go to the dunes of Liwa or the unforgiving Australian outback, you won't see many luxury crossovers. You see the Nissan Patrol Y61. To my American viewers, this is the forbidden fruit. Because of our 25-year import rule, we are only just beginning to taste what the rest of the world calls the VTC. The heart of this legend is the TB48DE. This 4.8-liter straight six is a mechanical anvil. It features a massive iron block and a forged steel crankshaft with journals so massive they look like they belong in a semi-truck. People call it an SUV engine, but it's actually a heavy industrial power unit disguised as a passenger car motor. The Y61 doesn't care about soft-touch plastics. It's built on a fully boxed ladder frame that refuses to flex. It's the Desert King, because when it's 120 degrees in the shade and you're 200 miles from civilization, reliable isn't a marketing bullet point. It's a survival requirement. It's a drivetrain built to handle 1,000 horsepower, even if it only makes 250 from the factory.
Tatra 813 8x8. The Tatra 813. Most trucks have a ladder frame. The Tatra has a backbone, a central steel tube that houses the entire drivetrain. The axles swing independently. You can lose 2 wheels and keep moving. This is Czechoslovakian engineering from the 1960s, built for the Warsaw Pact to invade Western Europe. The spine runs from bumper to bumper. Everything bolts to it. Transmission, transfer case, differentials, all inside that tube, protected. The engine is an air-cooled V12. No radiator to crack, no coolant to leak, no water pump to fail. 12 cylinders breathing mountain air at negative 40 degrees. It was designed to cross the Alps in winter, to ford rivers, to operate when supply lines were cut and mechanics were dead. 8 driven wheels, 250 horsepower. It doesn't negotiate terrain, it conquers it. The problem? You'll never find one. Production stopped in 1982. Most were scrapped after the Cold War ended. The few that survived are in museums or behind barbed wire in Eastern Europe. But if you see one rolling down your street after the lights go out, get out of its way.
UAZ 469. The UAZ 469 is Soviet engineering. There are no features. There are no options. There is a steel box with 4-wheel drive and a hand crank on the front bumper. When the battery dies at negative 50 degrees, you step outside and crank it manually. The compression releases with a lever inside the cab. You turn the crank 15 times, reset the compression, and the engine fires. The engine is a 2.5-liter inline-4, 75 horsepower, pushrod design from the 1950s, carbureted, mechanical distributor. A child could rebuild it with a wrench set and a hammer. It was deployed in Afghanistan, Siberia, and every Soviet satellite state. The tolerances are loose, gaps in the doors. Wind whistles through the cab. This isn't a flaw, it's intentional. Tight tolerances freeze. Loose machinery keeps moving. There is no rust protection, no undercoating. You're expected to wire brush it and spray used motor oil underneath every autumn. Maintenance is survival. The heater core is the size of a lunchbox. The fan sounds like a helicopter, but when temperatures drop to negative 60 and diesel gels in the tank, the UAZ starts every time. It served in wars no one remembers, in territories that don't exist on maps anymore. It hauled troops, ammunition, and wounded across terrain that had no roads and never would. The UAZ doesn't care about comfort. It cares about tomorrow. International Scout 2 with Nissan diesel. The International Scout 2 with the Nissan SD33 diesel. International Harvester didn't build cars. They built farm equipment. The Scout was a tractor with doors. The SD33 diesel, a Nissan inline-6, replaced the underpowered gas engines in the late 1970s. This engine is indirect injection.
No computer, no sensors, no turbo, just compression and heat. Gear-driven timing. Not a belt, not a chain, gears. Cast iron block. 75 horsepower and 140 pound-feet of torque at idle. It doesn't accelerate, it pulls. The frame is full boxed steel. Dana 44 front and rear axles as standard. Leaf springs thick enough to support a plow. This wasn't designed for weekend trails. It was designed to haul grain during harvest and pull stumps in the off-season.
Jeep J20 Gladiator. Not the modern plastic version, the 1970s original. This is a Wrangler on steroids. Full-size truck frame, Dana 60 front axle, corporate 14-bolt or Dana 60 rear, 8-lug wheels. This was Jeep's answer to Ford and Chevy 1-tons. The bed is 8 feet long. Payload is 3,000 pounds. That's ammunition, that's fuel drums. That's enough supplies to relocate when the cities collapse. The engine options were agricultural. The AMC 360 or 401 V8s, cast iron blocks, mechanical fuel pumps, Edelbrock carburetors that you can rebuild on a tailgate with a flathead screwdriver. The frame is fully boxed, leaf springs front and rear, no coils to sag, no airbags to leak. Just stacked steel compressing and rebounding for 50 years without maintenance. Ranchers use them to haul feed in winter. Construction crews use them to move equipment to remote job sites. The Forest Service used them as fire patrol vehicles because they could carry water tanks and navigate trails that would destroy a civilian pickup. The ground clearance is 9 inches stock. With 35-inch tires, you're over obstacles that nothing else touches. It's not refined. The ride is punishing. The steering is vague. Fuel economy is 12 miles per gallon downhill with a tailwind, but refinement dies when the refineries close. The Gladiator keeps moving.
Humvee M998 military spec. The HMMWV, the Humvee, military designation M998. This is not the civilian H1. This is the actual military truck. 87 inches wide. That's 7 feet, 3 inches. Wider than a full-size pickup. The reason is the portal hubs. The axle doesn't run through the center of the wheel. It runs above it. Gears inside the hub drop the power down. This gives you 16 inches of ground clearance without lifting the chassis. You can drive over obstacles that would stop anything else. Curbs, logs, wrecked cars. The diff is 2 feet off the ground. The engine is a 6.2-liter Detroit diesel V8. Mechanical injection, naturally aspirated, 150 horsepower. It's slow, it's loud, it's reliable. There is no ECU, no sensors, no oxygen monitors. The injection pump is mechanical. Fuel goes in, compression ignites it, power comes out. Fuel capacity is 25 gallons. Split tanks under the rear bench seats. Armored on military models. If one tank punctures, you switch to the other from inside the cab. The interior is industrial, metal everywhere. Switches are military spec. Gauges are analog. No power windows, no air conditioning in base models. The heater runs off engine coolant.
Mercedes Unimog S404. The Mercedes-Benz Unimog S404, this is German over-engineering applied to a problem no one else was trying to solve. What if a truck could climb mountains? Portal axles, like the Humvee, but the Unimog does it better. The axle runs 16 inches above the wheel hub. Ground clearance is 18 inches. With military tires, 24. You don't drive around obstacles, you drive over them. Fallen trees, boulders, vehicles. The Unimog doesn't care. The engine is an OM312 inline-6 diesel. Pre-chamber indirect injection, 82 horsepower. Naturally aspirated, no turbo, no intercooler, no computer. The transmission is a 6-speed manual with high and low range. 12 forward gears. Crawl ratio is so low you can climb a wall at idle. Top speed and low range first gear, half a mile per hour. The frame is ladder style with coil spring suspension. Yes, coils, but not independent. Solid axles with coils and radius arms. Articulation is extreme. Wheels stay planted on terrain that would lift a leaf spring truck off the ground. Like the Power Wagon, it has a PTO, but the Unimog takes it further. Front PTO, rear PTO, hydraulic pumps. You can run snow plows, cranes, or generators directly from the drive.